What's up, gamers? How the heck are you? My name is Epic Pins, and in today's grounded video, let's talk. But before we get to that, I want to go ahead and thank every single person who's watched my videos recently. You guys are absolute legends. I cannot believe the growth that I've seen recently, and it's amazing. Thank you so much for your time, because that's what you're giving me. You're basically lending me your time for a brief moment, and I cannot thank you enough for that, because time is valuable. So thank you so much, and I hope you keep enjoying the videos. That's all I can say. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the video. All right, in today's video, I want to talk about the update as a whole. I think we've reached the point where the grounded devs probably aren't going to make any big changes. The next changes we're going to see are probably going to come with the next update. We might get little patches for like little fixes here and there, but I don't think we're going to see anything overly crazy. I think it's going to be pretty mild from here on out until we get the next update, which I don't think is that far off. But let's talk about what we've experienced so far. So the Bugs Strike Back update. Now, before we get into the overarching name, before we get into what actually is happening during this update, let's talk about some of the stuff that came along with it. One, let's talk about the tools. Tools I thought were great. Torch. Okay, let's correct this. Some of the tools are great. The new torch and the new canteen are two tools that we received during this update. Torch, complete W in my opinion. It burns brighter, lasts longer, it's easily fixable, it's not overly insane to fix it. It makes perfect sense that it would break. I want to hone in on it. It makes perfect sense that that one would break. But the canteen. Okay, so the canteen, I like the idea. I thought it was super cool. Put charcoal in it. Charcoal filters the water so you can scoop up water anywhere else. I don't find it super difficult in this game to get water, especially if you already have like a dew collector and one of the storage containers, which at every house I've ever built, I put both of those right next to each other. So I usually have a pretty substantial amount of water. I don't love the fact that it breaks when you put clean water in it, or at least wish that it would go a little lower. That if you put clean water in it, or maybe go down a little less, not as much as if you constantly use dirty water, because obviously they won't need to filter as much if you put clean water in there. But I mean, it really comes down to the fact that I get why it's breakable, but I just wish that you could use it with clean water. So it's not the end of the world that it is breakable, just because obviously a filter will get damaged over time. I just kind of wish if I kept putting clean water into it, it would never break and I would just get the 6 drops. But once again, I'm not struggling for water anyway. There's a lot of droplets around the world, or around this backyard, so it's not the end of the world. I think the tools were pretty much a W in my book. I just, there's always gonna be something that you're gonna want tailored to you in a sense. So I try not to hone in on that too much. All right, moving on to, let's talk about armor. This was a hot topic for a lot of people. People who were very upset with armor, especially when it first came out. It was kind of grindy. It has been worked on a lot. I think they did a great job at bringing it down, but there are a few more things that we really need to look at. Armor, the idea was there, but the execution just kind of didn't make it for me. So I kind of went over this. I made an entire video and went over this. So if you guys want to check that out, you are more than welcome to. I'll go over an overview of what I said in that video. So basically it came down to, I was fine with the tiers. I'm fine with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I think that's perfectly fine to have those tiers. It makes sense to have tiers. Every game I've ever played that is like this, you have tiers that you work towards as you go further in the game. But upgrading tier 1 things to full level to utilize the things that are on them, you need to be in areas that are way beyond that particular armor to use it. So it doesn't make sense, in my opinion. So my solution was anything lower tier, tier 1, and maybe some of tier 2, but mainly tier 1, making the upgrades less. Like, you don't need items that aren't located in that area. kind of thing. You may need a lot of them, but you shouldn't need items that are located in a tier 3 area, for instance. So that's something I think they should look into. Also, higher tier armor, the perks were kind of lackluster. It didn't make sense to really use the perks. They just didn't do a whole lot, or at least let us know what exactly we're getting out of that certain perk. Like thirst rate. Really? Sorry, like I love the antlion armor and I was kind of upset that thirst rate was what I got. I wish I would have got something cool. Like it already does faster fire rate for your bow. Like I wish I could have got a little bit of bow thing out of it, but it's fine. It's okay. But just kind of let me know what that means. I didn't really see a difference with the thirst rate is basically what I'm getting at. So higher tier things, I kind of wish the perks were a little bit better. Even if you kind of make it a little more grindy to earn it, I still think I still want it a little better. These are my opinions. Obviously, you may not agree with them, but that's just my opinion. So back off. Just kidding. You can leave in the comments if you disagree with me, obviously. All right, let's talk about the final thing. It's where the update name comes from. Bug Strike Back. So Bug Strike Back, which means we got base raids. So these raids came in 3 separate kind of ways. All right, one was a faction raid. So if you pissed off a certain type of bug, like red ants, bees, mosquitoes, spiders, if you killed enough of them, you would trigger a faction raid. Didn't always happen, but it could. Basically, at the bottom of the screen or the middle of the screen or whatever, a prompt would come up saying the bees want you gone or the red ants want you gone. And then if you hung out at your base long enough, they would come and attack that base. And you basically just had to defend it. A big, like 2 swords going through the head of whatever was attacking, then you would go to wherever that is, and that's where they're attacking from. Now, I think this was implemented pretty fairly, pretty okay. I would worry that some of the newer players, or even like not even just newer players, even people who just restart back from the beginning and maybe don't have all the accessibilities that like I have, a level 9 crossbow, kind of things like that. The aerial creatures might be a bit of a problem. So if they end up killing a ton of mosquitoes and stuff like that, I feel like you're going to have a lot of issues there just because they do a ton of damage, even to like the toughest walls. And most people in the beginning are probably only going to have grass bases and they're going to get destroyed. So if they could factor in level somehow, or maybe factor in just where they are, maybe, I don't know, like where they are equipment wise. I don't know how they would do that, but I feel like that's something. I know you're not supposed to, I'm not trying to make it super easy, but their base is going to constantly get destroyed, and that's going to really annoy people. And people may end up quitting just because of that fact, or make it something they can turn off. I mean, I know they did lower it a lot. I think it does scale off to how many people you have in the game. I think it can get more difficult if you have more friends in the game, or unless you're by yourself. And I don't think it's as hard, but it still could be challenging for newer players who don't quite understand the mechanics of the game, or even know how difficult bees and mosquitoes can be. I think a lot of the ground creatures are relatively easy to take out for the most part. Red ants can literally most of the time just be beaten to death. And they kind of don't come in super huge waves as long as you catch them as soon as they start arriving. But nonetheless, just look into that stuff. Otherwise, it's pretty fun to have that happen. It's a little bit more of a scare than I'm used to, just because I kind of felt like I could do anything in this game. Nothing really bothered me unless maybe a wolf spider or an infected wolf spider caught me off guard. It is something that I would have to pay attention to then. But to be honest with you, it wasn't something that I even paid attention to that often. So that is something that I think they did really well. I think this is a great aspect. Now the Mixars is another way. So you get Mixars. Now these are machines that you can activate. They're in certain locations. They're in 5 separate locations across the map. You activate them, and then it starts basically a defense. You have to defend that machine until it's done mixing, and then if you can do this, it will reward you with raw science. Now, I wish these were replayable, but they're not. Once you complete them, you can no longer use them again. I wish you could do this often. I think it would be fun to try out different techniques, much like the Broodmother fight, things like that. I've made that comment plenty of times that I like the Broodmother fight is something that you can do constantly. I just kind of wish this was something also you can do constantly. You don't have to give raw science every time. I think maybe you could give something like a free upgrade to a weapon, like some token or something that you can apply to a weapon that gives it the next level upgrade, so you don't have to spend the points for it, or the resources for it. So that's an idea. Or if they're not going to do that, maybe there's another way they can implement it. But I just wish they were replayable, kind of thing like that. So that's something that I wish they would look into. That was executed nicely. I like them. I think they're super fun. I just wish that they were replayable. And then the final way is a WAF emitter. WAF emitter is not the greatest thing. Basically, it's a device that you can place anywhere on the map. You put bug parts into, and then basically it calls a base raid to that thing. It emits a smell, and then it draws in whatever bug parts you put in there. Now, there are only certain types of bugs that'll actually respond to it. So you basically red ants, everything I named earlier, red ants, spiders, stuff like that. You can put those parts in there, and then they will come to that location wherever you placed it. The idea behind it was so that you could use this to have fun things with, do fun things with your friends, enjoy base fights on your own time, not necessarily like when they just attack your base. You can kind of and you can test out your base. And I made a video about this, things that you can use this for. I do wish there was a better reward for them, and this is where I would let the mixer go. Like, I would let that be a one-time thing and forget about it if I could get cool rewards from doing the WAF emitter. Like, maybe I put in the hardest things that I could possibly fight, and if I won that without losing any health on the WAF emitter or something like that, then I get that little token that allows me to upgrade my gear, or I don't know, something special like that, or a free milk molar upgrade. I don't know, something along those lines, or even just more raw science, 500 raw science, or whatever. I think that would be something that would make me use that, obviously, more often than never, other than making a video for it. And then that's just something that I would like to see. I mean, once again, it's not the end of the world if this stuff doesn't get applied, but it's just it's something that I think would be very beneficial to future players, and it would just give us a reason to continue doing this and showing different techniques on maybe how to handle a really difficult WAF emitter wave or something like that. So these are my thoughts. These are my ideas. If you guys disagree with them, or if you agree with them, put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And, let's go over what your ideas for the next update, or things that they can make different changes. I just wanted to go over this because I felt like we were at a point where they're kind of done messing with this stuff right this second until the next update comes out. So I feel like it was a time to talk about it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video at all, please hit that like button below. If you liked me at all, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I love Grounded. I love survival games. I'm going to continue playing as much of it as I possibly can. So thank you so much for that. And if you guys would like to hang out with me live, I am going live. I go live once a week. If you guys follow me on YouTube, I'll go live here on YouTube. If you follow me, it'll notify you guys when I go live. I will be going live tomorrow, Thursday the 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as long as my life allows it, which it should. It should. But I'll be going live, probably playing Grounded. You guys can come talk to me live about it and give me your ideas and thoughts, and hang out with me. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.